So it is Monday, June 22nd, 2020. Just got off the dock at, what time is that? 5:39. Headed for Pentwater, Michigan, across the lake again. Michi tidying up the decks. Say hey, Michi. What do you think about sailing, hun? What do you think about ghosting along at a whopping 2.2 knots on a broad reach?
Sorry, my love.
It's predictable.
It is.
Very predictable. I looked at no fewer than 3 wind forecasts today. Every single one of them had something entirely different, with the exception of the southerly component. And even that ranged anywhere from southwest to southeast and directly out of the south most of the way across the lake, with varying velocities depending on the time of the day and location on the lake. But the one thing we can count on is this: no wind.
I mean, no wind.
What did I say?
I thought you said the wind.
Oh, well, if I said the wind, I meant no wind. There's the jib hanging limp. 17 knots they're forecasting on one deal. Anyway, one thing about the Great Lakes is you definitely do not have diurnal winds here. There's nothing predictable. Well, except that when we go sailing, we don't have any wind. And then when it does blow, it's a white knuckle ride.
Typically.
But we haven't seen any of that. In fact, I haven't seen anything above, I don't think we even saw 12 knots coming across the other day. If we did, it just bumped up to 12.
It didn't stay there.
No, that was it. But it's definitely fallen off. We were doing pretty good there for a while. So the folks over in Pentwater are going to have to keep somebody late to meet us, and I don't want them to do that, so I'm going to fire up the Orange Jenny. I guess if time were no issue, we could just sit out here and ghost along all day long, but we're on vacation. We're supposed to be drinking beer and eating one of the 4 essential food groups.
Wings, burgers, barbecue, and pizza.
That's right.
In no particular order.
And we got none of the above out. Well, I take that back. We do have some pizza. We ate at, what was the name of that barbecue place in Sheboygan?
Parker's Barbecue.
Parker Lewis Can't Lose Barbecue or something. Didn't it have 2 names in it? Parker.
Probably. I don't remember.
Remember that show, Parker Lewis? Can't
I
Lose?
remember the name, but I couldn't tell you about it.
It's kind of a cute show. I liked it. Anyway. Beautiful day on the water. Not much progress. We've only gone about 7 miles. That power plant, we were looking at that thing for seemingly hours the other day. Well, I don't think it was seemingly. I think we were looking at it for hours. Our progress was pretty slow getting to Sheboygan. And our progress getting to Pentwater is going to be equally slow, it looks like. So, supposed to be some rain showers. Already had a little sprinkle this morning. Thunderstorms possibility in the forecast. Let's hope that doesn't come to fruition. And yeah, I'm going to fire up the engine. Bye. Meech at the helm. Hey, Meechy.
Hey, Michi.
So the wind filled in a little bit from the south or southwest by the time I got this up. South or southwest?
What's that?
Okay, well, the wind filled in. And I just finished hoisting the big sail. Getting a little over 5 knots out of her with about 8.5 apparent. So that's pretty good if we can keep that up. Hopefully avoid any gusty conditions and definitely any thunderstorms. It's a little dark to the southwest, so we'll have to be careful. And I got the tack line a little long on that thing. I can't reach the trigger shackle without letting the sheet go. Take some pressure off of that thing. So, anyway, better than being under the motor. So, how long did I wait to make sure that the winds had consistently filled in before we put this thing up?
I don't know. I didn't time you.
Quite a while. At least a half an hour. And
About 20 minutes.
I don't think even that long. We had about 5 or 10 minutes of sailing in the high 4s and low 5 knot range. And we're down to what, 2.5 knots?
2.
Ghosting along at 2 knots now. Wind's all but completely fallen off, so I guess I'll drag it down and we're back on the air and Jenny. Well, the shower found us and also teased us with an increase in the wind, but of course we're not going to add any sail. Well, we got weather on top of us. That seems rather imprudent. So the problem with this boat is, as gorgeous as she is, this poor old tub needs 10 knots of wind to move it, and 15 knots of wind to go anywhere with any alacrity. So that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but pretty close to the truth. I read a review on Cabo Rico's one time, and it was on the Great Lakes, I think. Somebody had one on the Great Lakes. Said 6 knots of wind and they could do 6 knots anywhere. Well, they're a hell of a lot better sailors than me. 6 knots of wind will move this thing at about 2.5, 3 knots, somewhere in that range, depending on the point of sail. As long as that point of sail is a beam reach. These things were designed for reaching in the trades. Little damp. And again. Pretty cute, hun.
Careful, you know, I did already fall once.
Yeah, that's true. At least you didn't do a face plant.
That's true.
So we just passed the Welcome to Michigan sign. Right in the middle of the lake with about 28 miles to go to Pentwater. And 3 forecasts this morning, not one of them did I see a reason not to sail, not motor, sail across Lake Michigan today. All supposed to have a southerly component, at least 10 knots. And here we are. That's the ground wind. Northwest now, 3.5 knots. So, except the roughly hour of sailing we got in aggregate earlier today, it looks like the only sailing we're going to get to do today, making this a tie for the longest day of motoring we've done yet. I never would have gone to Pentwater if we knew we were going to have to motor all the way across the lake. Never would have picked it. But we've been watching the weather for a few days now, not just the weather but the wind forecast, and it was looking favorable, so that's why we made the decision. And again, made the decision right up, would have made that decision this morning.
It got wet on top of it.
Yeah, I knew we were going to get wet. That didn't bother me. It's mainly the winds. So, if it sounds like I'm bitching,
He's bitchy.
it's because I'm bitching
And moaning.
and pissing. So, I guess I'm not a real sailor. If we were real sailors, we would just hoist the sails and get there when we get there and enjoy the ride. But
Get in tomorrow morning.
yeah, I wouldn't get in until the wee hours of the morning and have to drop the anchor out in the lake. And well, yeah, it's not put together that way. We're on vacation. I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to have a nice, fun sail and get in at a reasonable hour so we can go to the bar and get some beer, get some wings or some pizza or some barbecue or some burgers. Fun yet? Need the rain. It was getting a little dry out here. So I keep missing the big rollers. Every time I turn the camera on, it's kind of wimpy. As soon as I turn it off, I get tossed all over the place. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Not like before. So we still got just under 6 knots of wind here. Haven't seen more than 9 knots of wind in a couple of hours, despite the storms. They've obviously kicked up some rollers, some big waves somewhere else, because we got some rollers coming in now. The weather alert on the radio a little while ago and couldn't make heads or tails out of it. It was too garbled. So I'm pretty sure it was telling us we're motoring right into some of the worst weather the Great Lakes have ever seen. So here we are, finally on Pentwater Lake. Of motoring across the lake. Man, were we looking at that power plant for a long time yesterday. You can see it way out on the lake. And it just never seemed to get any closer. Michi 360.